Welcome everybody, welcome to the Tomb of Illumination, the only site on YouTube that will explain the entire physics system of our realm, the actual physics, the actual working physics of our Earth. Nowhere else, you won't find it anywhere else. You get the truth here, other guys are starting to use a bit of it. But you think of my videos only getting 600 views in 3 or 4 days, you know how evil the system is. They don't want people to understand it. You're all trapped in a system that's controlling your minds when you think you live on a spinning ball. It's the dumbest thing, and when you finally wake up, you'll realise. You'll ask yourself, how could you have been so dumb? So anyway, I'm just going to show something today, expand a little bit further on stuff I've talked about before. It's about the central vortex of creation. It's hidden in the north, the centre Arctic. Now, what you need to realise, which is quite buzzy, is this is the female entity, and that's the male entity, the Milky Way that comes into it. And where it meets at this point here, this is going down the gurgler, is all the action. Just like in a ring magnet. Look at the converging point in the centre of the ring magnet. Well, it's the same sort of thing here, because you can, what we know in the physical world is that this is magnetically locked. This is held in place, the central vortex, through the magnetic pressure of Earth. We're under pressure, it's like the flux of the Earth. And that's the centre. It's what they call the Corinth, centre of the ring magnet, you could say. The centre of the flux. And that's where that central vortex resides, up above the Arctic centre that we cannot get into. So the central Arctic vortex, top side of the hyperboloid, because the other half goes down into the Earth, it's part of the Earth system. The Earth is the negative, this is the positive side of it. That's another story too. We know the atmosphere in our realm is positive, Earth is negative. What's in there is another dual system, which is this and this. Okay? This comes up out of the Earth. What's coming up in here is the female entity. Read this first. The central Arctic vortex, top side of the hyperboloid, is the feminine aspect of creation. It is open at the top for the entry of the male aspect of creation. This is the Milky Way. All the stars in the Milky Way are male entities representing males on Earth, while the central vortex houses all the females on Earth. All the animals, everything, female. All in here. And the male comes over into it. That's where the sun is created, right on this horizon of the gurgler. Look at here, this goes down. Where the ecliptic plane is around here. There's the sun's on the inside track. So you could say that it could be right out around here. The ecliptic plane probably is. I'd say it would be. The ecliptic plane is right there. The Milky Way not only rolls around the rim of the vortex 360 degrees over 24 hours, but the sun, the lotus flower on the stem, papyrus stem, whoops, spelled that wrong, where's the I, where's the Y? Papyrus stem, that could be an A too, eh? Papyrus stem of the Milky Way creeps ahead a little over time to move through the constellations. Constellations are on the Milky Way. This is forever moving slowly down the gurgler. Slowly moving that way through the constellations. See this slowly roll. It's rolling around the rim every day of the vortex. That's your 24-hour day. because the sun's tucked into the side of it, where we see it out here. You've got to realise this is creation. This isn't what we're seeing. That sun in creation, we do not see it there. We see an image. You don't see real plasma. The image is out in the tropics, out in our realm. This is hidden in the Arctic centre. That's where creation is. So you've got to imagine it's tucked on the side of the straw, say, the stem. And it rolls, and that's the rolling, 15 degrees rolling, as it goes 15 degrees around the rim. Well, no, that's not 15 degrees. It rolls around the rim 15 degrees, around the circle here. It's a circle. It's not elliptical, it's ellipse if you look at the sun on its horizon. That's another story. You've got this and then you go right back into there, but I've done plenty of videos on that. It's the black hole there. It's a circle with the sun on it, which creates the egg shape right in there. But anyway, centre Arctic, where creation is, the black hole and the sun. Okay. Yeah. So it moves around the hole, this hole here, there's the hole there, 15 degrees per hour. So there's your 24-hour day over 360 degrees, right? But slowly over time, the sun is rolling, creeping forward inside the Milky Way. The sun is the fastest celestial body in the whole system. That's why it's creeping slightly ahead inside, even inside the Milky Way stars. And that's the changing constellations. Okay? Ever so slowly. The sun stays there, but the Milky Way slowly gets fed into the female. And as it's going in, it's slightly rolling, or the sun's slightly moving around the stem. So there you understand the stem, the two entities that ancient Egyptians have left us. The stem of the Milky Way and the lotus flower. There's two flowers, isn't there? They've mentioned the two plants. Why is that? Well, because of the system here. The lotus flower coming up out of the primordial waters. Look, you consider this is the primordial deep, which it is. Everything goes down through there, down through the gurgler. Here's the gurgler. And at the same time, it runs parallel with man's awakening. The moon, how the moon moves the water of the water and the fluid in his brain. And his pineal gland rises up, or the water floods away from it, leaves the pineal gland high and dry. So that's your lotus flower coming out. This is your rebirth, coming into the light. Your second birth. Your second birth and your first death. But you're not really dying. It's only your old way is dying. Consciously, physically, spiritually, you are not dying. You awaken. This is how you awake the soul. You've stimulated the kundalini, the coiled snake down the bottom here. You've brought it to life, and it rises up. Rises up. It's the cross. Gets the snake head to the top of the cross. That's what the whole religious story is about. Jesus dying on the cross. But the cross is the crossing of the sun's analemma. Now there's a lot of people online, they're telling you, oh, you know, they make it, they know what they're talking about. They don't. They think the crossing is equinox. There's no crossing there. They think the sun just crossing the equinox is the cross. No. The actual cross is the crossing of the sun. That's what represents man's awakening, the divine creation story on the 6th of September. 17 days before the equinox. I haven't figured out why it's 17 days before. I haven't spent too much time on it actually. But there's got to be a divine reason there, and I'm going to find it one day. I'll put my mind to it. I'll find it alright. So the Milky Way comes from the tropics, where we see the sun, because that's the recycling system of Earth, coming back through here, going through the Earth and going this way. It's where the two forces of creation meet. This is where you could say gravity is created, because it's basically creation. But gravity is just basically, well, it is, because we're from the black hole. Earth is from the black hole. So if you can imagine Earth, the image of Earth has come out of there, the place of rest. That's why Earth is fixed and stationary. All the actions around its horizon. So the black hole has created Earth because that's the perfect, it's perfection. That's what created life and created Earth. But the planets out on the ecliptic plane are stages, progressive stages to perfection. So they are black holes in their own right as well, in their own frequency or pressure gradient, whatever you want, chemical, whatever. They are not quite there. So you start back here at Saturn, and you notice they're changing as they get towards the black hole, become more solid, like Saturn's, like it is with a big ring around it. Then you've got Jupiter with a bit of detail on it. They're all condensing. That's the way I see it. It's going that way. Not coming out. Is it coming out? It's something to think about. Like Saturn may have been here at one stage, but I don't see it that way. I see it as coming this way. Everything gets drawn in this way anyway in the black hole of creation. In our realm it's expanding out. But in this situation it goes in. So they're all coming in, being drawn into the black hole of creation. So see, if you take this as the tropical gap, south-north, that's a 180 degree arc. That's a meridian. There's the tropical gap. Now science has been fooled, because we know that the coil, which is the southern hemisphere, is the coil, the northern hemisphere. That's the north pole, south pole. Many south poles though, they're all around here, anywhere. That's the strong force, the north pole. The energy is strongest at the pole. The magnetic field is weakest here. Because it's weakest, these physicists, these scientists that are running your world, have failed to detect the fact that the field does not pass across this tropical zone. The magnetic field passes down at this point. Only one wise man on earth figured this one out. Trust me. That's the way it goes. And then it passes through the earth, then back up this way. Down there, through the earth, back up this way. You know, go check it out. Science knows magnetic fields are strongest here, weak here. But they do not pass here, just like the winds do not pass the tropics. Just like the ocean currents do not pass the tropics. Obviously there's water there, but the cycles of currents do not. They know, even in meteorology, they know the wind goes like this at these points. Ask the pilot what happens when he flies across the tropics here. Dead centre in the, you might get a bit of an updraft here, but the actual turbulence is, you know, around 25 degrees. I've experienced this when I'm travelling from New Zealand to Samoa. Samoa is 13 degrees south. So I'm crossing this zone. You're forever going through that turbulent zone. Pilots know that. Meteorology knows this. Physics knows it's weak up here, but they're not clever enough to have noticed or detected the fact that the field is being drawn back down here, because this is the place of divergence. It's the dielectric system in our earthly system. But to understand that, you need to go right back to creation and realize creation has come from the dielectric. So Earth is from the dielectrics. That's why we're not falling over and being stuck to a bit of magnetite or something stupid like that. Because we've come from the dielectric, but we've come from creation, so we have to have our own dielectric zone, and that's the tropical gap. All life began around in the tropics here. Then we moved out. They like you to think in history that we came from the north. No, it's because everything in creation came out of the north. Creation comes from the north. The continents, everything spiral out. Everything spirals out. All life comes out from the centre. But you've got to realise that that is where we first appeared. You know, it's warm, good temperatures, got all the fruit and veggies here. Didn't need clothing, if you're bare skin. Life was created like that. As soon as that sun was ignited, hit the right frequency, bingo, life appeared. Or maybe it took 7 days. But anyway, everything expands out from the north. We never had an ice age. We never had one earthly full ice age. The system, Earth cannot work in that bullshit story. There has to be the temperature variance between the central northern warm area and the two Arctic cold areas for convergence, the whole system to work, the magnetic field to flow, which is in the wind, tides, everything. There'd be no life on Earth. If it was all ice, there would have been no life whatsoever. And winds wouldn't have moved, nothing would have happened. So it's ridiculous. If they're detecting there was an ice age somewhere, it's because everything is spiraled out from the centre ice area. So what's now out here would have been in there. Or what was here might have spiraled back towards the tropics. Or the whole thing spiraled right out. Imagine it's only the northern hemisphere here. I haven't drawn the tropical gap in the southern hemisphere. This is only one image of the northern hemisphere. So it spirals out to here and subduction occurring in here somewhere. Maybe get some other subduction coming from the south going this way. Or it just all expands south right out to the Antarctic. And they know the Antarctic, beneath the Antarctic was once the tropical zone. So tropics moved right out here. But there you go, everybody. When are they going to inform you that I'm right and they're wrong? No, they can't, because it destroys the whole bullshit story of the globe. All your physics, all your science, everything has to be rewritten. The whole school curriculum, just about, when it comes to science. There you have it, guys. You've got to share this stuff, get it out to people, try and get the human race to wake up, because the powers that be who control all these media sites, they're not going to let it get out. No way. They want to control your minds. Okay? Thanks for watching. Give the likes up and share like crazy.